For more on the politics of the whole deal, let's turn to MSNBC political analyst Richard Wolff, who also covers the White House with the Daily Beast and is, of course, author of Revival, The Struggle for Survival Inside the Obama White House. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Did we bury the lead here, in fact, because of all the good humor that Louis Gohmert offered us and this back and forth Don Quixote stuff? The Democrats rebutted misuse of data by the GOP, and then they had their own set of easy-to-digest data for their case. Democrats prepared for something?
They are. They're prepared and more disciplined being in the minority than they were in the majority. I think they're feeling some wind behind their backs here because, remember, the president's numbers have gone over that psychological mark of 50%. And, by the way, the poll numbers on repeal have also shifted since just November. That most recent AP poll said only 26% support repeal compared to 43% that want the law to do more, not less. So the politics has changed in important ways, but you are looking at a Democratic Party that has something that they know how to defend. Remember, a year ago, they didn't know what they were talking about because it hadn't been decided. All of those messy negotiations, the sausage making, made it extremely hard to rebut anything because they had nothing to put their hands around. Now it's here. Those provisions are popular when you're talking about pre-existing conditions or what seniors get. So it's a different world.
If just support within the Republican pollees has dropped from just about 61% to repeal just after the election to 49% now, is there any contemplation that that kind of number might continue to change at anywhere near that sort of pace, and that at some point this continuing stagecraft that they're doing in the House might actually pit the Republicans against their base rather than pandering to their base?
Well, I think that's going to bottom out at some point because there is that hardcore that just hates everything that Obama does and finds that healthcare has been a sort of radicalizing force for them because of all their heated rhetoric around it. But repeal is not what Republicans, even Republicans, really think is the most important priority. What they want to see is action on the economy and on jobs. So apart from your hardcore of Tea Party folks and the most loyal listeners to the Hannity show, you've actually got people who want Congress, even the Republican majority in the House, to be talking about something else. They are off topic, seriously off topic, for the very people who put them in power.
The president put out something of a boilerplate statement today that touted the best elements of the health care law. It certainly wasn't critical of it, but he also said he's willing to work with Republicans to improve it, which is kind of, I suppose, an unintentional dog whistle to the left of, you're going to abandon all the good stuff? For what reason? Why say this if obviously the Republicans don't want a compromise and would take credit for anything that they managed to change in the bill and claim that there is no President Obama and
Right. Well, he is not about to give up the important provisions in this law. He is obviously aware that there's going to have to be lots of tinkering around as this bill goes into force, as this law goes into force, excuse me. They're going to have to be amendments and changes to it over the course of the next several years. But being reasonable, looking reasonable, and saying to Republicans, look, put something on the table here, that has not done him any harm. That's one reason why his numbers have picked up. Only one, though, but it's an important tone for him to strike at this time. So until we see what specifics, apart from the 1099 provision that Ezra talked about, until we see what specifics the president is talking about, I don't think people have a reason to be that worried that he's going to gut something that he thinks is the most important piece of his legacy so far.
MSNBC political analyst Richard Wolff, great thanks as always, and you owe me $1 for not bringing up the snuggling or whatever quotes from Frist.
We can cuddle later. Thanks, Keith.
Okay, thanks for that, Richard.